My name's Saunders. I'm from the Taree Elite community and Warruwi tribe, and I do think that gambling causes serious problems amongst our communities right through the New South Wales area and also through Australia. And I do think that we need to focus on ways to alleviate this, either by government funding or just betting responsibly. I think it's because they're trying to win the big one, but they don't realise that they're betting the big one to win the big one, and they can't seem to stop. I think it's a real problem. I think it's a serious disease, and it needs to be controlled in some way. In communities, it can range from food, health, right through to the standard of living. I mean, it lowers the standard of living for not only Indigenous Australians but also the wider community as well. It's a real problem, and it needs to be looked at seriously, and it doesn't discriminate. It goes right across the board. So gambling responsibly is the best way to go, rather than just putting your whole pay through or whatever. I think that people know that they've got some sort of problems with gambling, but it comes to the point where you've got to admit that you've got a problem with gambling. You really have to admit it, and I think that that's probably one of the main issues in our communities, is that people just think that they're going down to have a press and to have a bit of fun, but they don't realise that there's a limit. Most people don't gamble hundreds of dollars away. So in some cases, thousands. Some people just go and chuck 40 in. If you don't win in 40, you're not going to win, really. So, I mean, there's a difference between pleasure and pain, I guess. Well, I think there are some services in Taree in regards to gambling, but there can never quite be enough because the problem's so bad. Not, like I said, not just in my community, but right across the board. And whether the government comes in and starts restricting this gaming, I don't know how they're going to do it. But at the same time, their greed of collecting millions and billions of dollars, is really hurting communities, and needs to be addressed, I think. Yeah, I'd like to say to my mob, as well as all the mobs across Australia, gamble responsibly. Remember, when you put the money in, you very rarely get it back. If you've got kids, don't disadvantage your kids or your community or anybody, or even yourself. Think about it and go from there. So think about yourself, think about your situation, think about the rent, think about the food, think about your children, and let that lead you to where you need to be.